Get that. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Let me get this thing a bit better. OK, let's begin. As I said, my name is Rotem. I'm from Algorand. And I want to talk to you a bit about state proofs and interoperability in general, a few thoughts and a few cool things that we've created. So let's begin. So really, blockchains are great, right? I mean, this is really what we're all here for. P2P, decentralized, secure, low cost, always available. I mean, what can you ask for more? But the problem is that there are walled gardens. Like all the great benefits I mentioned are essentially constrained within the protocol itself, which is great, but not so. And the other thing is, like, you can't, well, at least not easily nor trustlessly interact with other chains. So for example, we can't just like swap ETH and Algo, the native ones, like easily. Or if you have USDT, for example, both on Algorand and Ethereum, it's not that easy to just swap them. The other problem is that like you can't really choose your ecosystem. So for example, if you have your favorite ERC20, you can't just like go away and play with it on another chains. Well, again, at least not that easily. And same thing for other nice tokens that you have everywhere. And the last thing is composability, or I should say probably the lack of, which practically we yet to be able to build like dApps that use more than one blockchain underneath them, which is something that I would be really happy to see very, very much soon. So I just got a problem, but clearly there are some solutions out there, and people found a way around it. And essentially, we all know that like every interchain, essentially bridging of transaction done mainly by third parties. And this is a problem because third parties usually introduce risk, latency, and cost, which are exactly the things that we try to avoid when we started playing with blockchains and like building this great thing. And you know, it's like this guy in the middle, which we don't like. So we're looking for a solution. And how would the solution look like? Very simple. Two main things. First, we want it to be trustless. Second, we want it to be efficient. Really as simple as that. Essentially switch from this nice guy in the middle, send him away, and move to that. Now, how would this be like a bit of a game changer, right? I mean, once we have this like great tool, we'll really be able to build like trustless and fully decentralized bridges. No man in the middle. We'll be able to have like multi-blockchain dApps, which is something that I've been in the industry for a while, like really looking for. We'll be able to have like cross-chain smart contracts. Think of like having a smart contract on Ethereum that depends on a state of a smart contract on Algorand or any other chain, and vice versa. And like have cross-chain oracles. Like if you have an oracle on one chain, why wouldn't you be able to use it on another network? Like seems pretty obvious to me. But the thing is, different companies try to solve this problem in different ways, and all the way from like fully centralized solutions to some ones that are kind of like semi-trustless, you know, several validators in the middle, and all the way to trustless one. But what we really need, we need like a light client that is completely trustless. And when it comes to proof of stake, it's a bit difficult. In proof of work, this thing is fairly simple. Like we need to prove that the consensus happened, so we really need just to validate the headers and the hash and to see that everything matches. And we have all the information needed. But when it comes to proof of stake, you need, well, the stake to prove that. And to get a stake, this is a bit less trivial because we really need to compute all the transactions from the genesis to understand like what is the current balance of each one of the accounts, to understand that people were actually, that accounts were actually selected properly for the consensus and to propose the blocks. So that's a bit more tricky, but we need to do that anyway. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to create a light client that can do it very lightly and efficiently? So let me introduce you to Algorand state proofs. Conceptually, think about it as the blockchain just attests to itself, to its own state in a lightweight, portable, and cryptographically secure way. Practically speaking, technically, it's a compressed set of signatures from the consensus participants themselves attesting to the state of the blockchain. In our case, it's really going to be the block. And how can we use that? So dApps on foreign chains can actually validate that a transaction, a smart contract state, or any balance happened on another, on the Algorand blockchain. Now, in the next few slides, they're going to be a bit more technical than what I talked up to now. So if it's not your thing, feel free to go to sleep. I'm not offended. I will wake you up at the end. And we're going to build a bridge using the Algorand state proofs. We do it in 3 steps. First, we understand how we generate the state proofs. Second, we build the light clients. And third, we'll see how the bridge actually going to work. Also, if you like science, the state proofs are a result of a pretty solid long research from Algorand, MIT, and Stanford. The paper is out there, was published in IEEE, obviously peer-reviewed. Everyone is more than welcome to see it. Links and the slides will be available at the end, I promise. All right, so how state proofs are actually being generated? So as I said, we want to attest to a specific block in time. So the story actually begins 256 blocks earlier. And on this block, we're going to select the list of participants that are going to attest to this block in the future. How are we going to select them? That you can read in the paper. It's kind of like some nice tricks. So we select them. We commit to this list in this block. Fast forward 256 rounds later, the block is being generated. And now all the attesters starting to work. They all see the block, making sure everything is fine, signing it, and shooting the signature to the relayers, to the network. And at some point in the middle, essentially block 128, in this example, what's going to happen, the relayers should have sufficient amount of signatures, and they're going to collect them, compress them, and create the state proofs. And the moment they pass the specific threshold of the security, they will release it, and now we have a nice state proof in hand. Now, when we have these state proofs, including this happen in cycles, we generate all of them. They're all getting posted to a specific address to make it easy for everyone to collect them. And now we want to build the light client. So really what we're going to do is we're going to have an off-chain server. It can be AWS or your laptop or whatever, and it's okay. It doesn't need to be trusted. We don't care what happens with them. You cannot tamper with the state proofs. As I said, the cryptographic is secure, so it's okay. It pulls them from the Algorand network, from this address, and then essentially posts them to the target chain. Let's say it's Ethereum. And there we have a set of smart contracts that will really serve as the light client. So we keep updating the state of the Algorand blockchain using these state proofs. And now when we have this light client that essentially knows the state of the Algorand chain, what we can really do is ask questions of, has this transaction happened? Was this the balance of this account at this specific round? Was that the state of the smart contract at this specific round? Etc. Now when we have these light clients, let's build a bridge, because now we're really all set. So let's show an example of one way, but practically speaking, it's really symmetric. You just need to do the same thing from the other direction. So let's say that we want to bridge your favorite token from Algorand to Ethereum. So we're going to have a smart contract on Algorand that will lock these tokens. So let's say we send 100 tokens to this smart contract, and now what we can do on the other side, the smart contract on Ethereum, can really go and ask the light client that we just built, hey, has this transaction actually happened? Once it gets the answer, hopefully, for yes, they can release the 100 tokens simultaneously on the other chain. So really, they just verify the state, they verify that something happened on the other chain. And remember, there was no one in the middle, no validators, nothing else there, just straight up the network that attested to itself. And we're done, and we have a bridge, which was as simple as that. So to build that, we used some fancy and nice new cryptographic primitives. Both are optimized for post-quantum security, which is a hint. Safeproofs actually provides you with historical integrity for post-quantum security, and zk-SNARKs, and I'll talk about why zk-SNARKs in a second. And we have two new ones. One, subset sum hash. There is a small asterisk for those who very know well the hash thing. It has actually just 2 of the 3 properties. It's not a random oracle, but that's actually perfectly fine for our purposes. And the second one is the Falcon signature scheme, which is post-quantum secure. Both these things are available. Everything is open source. You are more than welcome to see them. I dropped here a few more links for everyone who's interested to see more and read. As I said, the slides will be available. Now, I want to talk about something very important. So attesting to a state of a blockchain specifically a proof-of-stake blockchain, is a difficult problem. And it's a problem that every proof-of-stake blockchain out there has. Now, we as essentially layer 1 blockchains, we have the shared responsibility to make sure that we reduce every single one of these, every one of the trust issues there that the blockchain has with each other, pretty much. And the other thing is that we really believe that no one should attest to the state of a blockchain except the blockchain itself. The layer 1 needs to be the only primitive, the only layer that actually attests to the blockchain. And we really believe that a state-proof-based bridging ecosystem can really reduce these trust problems and make it better for everyone, not only for Algorand ecosystem. And the one thing I didn't say is that state proofs are actually a generic solution. They're completely blockchain agnostic, and every proof-of-stake protocol out there can and also should implement them to make sure we all have trustless ability to bridge tokens and any assets from one network to another. All right, so what's next? We actually released this week the first part of state proofs to the network. We released the keys. Now nodes can generate them, and that's great. Very soon we'll be able to start generating the state proofs themselves. That's going to happen kind of about in a month and a half. After that, what we're going to have is that we are going to release the zk-SNARK proofs. So as I said, state proofs are compact and light, but we want to make them even cheaper and faster to verify, because gas fees are not always cheap. So essentially we are snarkifying them, and we're generating just like zk-SNARK proofs that you can verify easily instead of the state proofs themselves. Once we're done with that, what we're going to have, we're going to release 2 light clients, one on Ethereum, one on Algorand, that will allow everyone to use this technology and verify whatever state they need, whether it's on Algorand or Ethereum. And as I promised, I deliver also this QR code for the slides themselves. You can have it, see everything I talked about, all the papers, links, everything is there. Thank you very much.